Okay, Didi, uh, looking at the data and the documentation of NEMA's achievement, we've seen NEMA have definitely achieved a lot under your tenure, whilst you are a technical director. Now, you're now moving, because of that, we've seen that now you are a member of the executive, not only a member of the executive, but even as a second vice president. So, just to say, because you've done a lot being a technical director, which definitely NEMA is so proud of, because we've talked to most of the players, the executive, they even telling us you still go down despite being a second vice president to work with the third division team and the academy players. And I think definitely that's definitely that's an effort that nobody should be able to overshadow. Now going forward, we've seen recently, like you mentioned, since you were there as a technical director, you've provided players in first and second division in the name of Ebrahim as a striker, who was in I think Band United. This guy also who was in Ouagadougou and now moved to. He was in the medical, from medical and to Ouagadougou. You know, we've recently seen, like you mentioned, if from the academy you built and worked through, we've seen that we have about 4 players who have now crossed the border of the Gambia. Now being in the position of second vice president, what is NEMA now expecting?
Well, like I said, the target from day one has always been to create that environment and possibility of being able to spot talent, nurture and prepare them, and give them the exposure they need so as to be able to go out there and compete at the highest level. And this has always been a standard that I, for one, with the help of the team, have always been very focused on, because looking at the general setting of Gambian football in general, but more so at a community like ours, football was perceived by most, especially parents, as a game of time wasted. But with recent developments and opportunities in the game of football, we've seen that the perception towards the game is changing. And as a community, we believe we possess the same talents that we have seen in other places. So we should be able to not only spot and nurture, but we should also be able to export our talents to compete at the highest level, so that we can also have our own share of whatever it is there, just as to be able to change the narrative that if other places can produce players that can go up to the international level, NEMA and Farato in general should be able to provide such talents, and in fact not only provide but be be a leader in producing and providing these talents, as we've seen with most of the young talents we are recently producing. Because you look at the talent pool of NEMA, it's very big, it's very vast, and I believe most of these young talents are ready for whatever is out there for them to go and conquer. So it's like we are doing everything, and we will do everything to ensure that these young talents get to the peak of their potentials by guiding them, preparing them, and also giving them the push that they need. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to, like I said, mentality and belief. This is where most talents disappear. So it's like at this young stage, all they need is somebody to be right behind them, to not only guide them, but to show them how it's done and push them to the next phase. So the team and myself are definitely working really hard in ensuring that this dream of theirs or goals are fully achieved so that Neymar can be recognized as the center of talent when it comes to football in Farad and West Coast in general.
Definitely never have seen that. For viewers following, please know that this is nobody but Ibrahim Saho, who was the first technical director of NEMA. Today, most of the structures we've seen is been put up by him, and he has been the guiding principle as far as technical matters are concerned. Now, in further, during the interview we had, the interaction we had with the finance people, we realized that during the COVID-19, you receive funding support as a relief from the Football Federation. But Ibrahim, it was surprising to learn that you advised and championed a pilot of plowing back the money to the community of Farato by ensuring you train 42 coaches rather than utilizing the money like other clubs would have done, or even probably putting the money in your pocket. But you did not do that. You stood to say capacity must be built. And under your leadership also, we came to learn we've provided 2 trainings on sea licensing coaches at free cost from NEMA United, including partial support for training of a media officer. Why did you put so much emphasis on building capacity of technicians of NEMA United?
Thank you once again. With regards to the COVID-19 relief funds, I would first like to thank the team president and the entire team. Like I said, the mentality in NEMA is humanity first, which is a direct translation of the team's name, because you look at the environment we happen to find ourselves in, the community in general. We are almost all in the same category, but thanks to the visionary leadership of the team president, who always inspires all of us, myself especially, that achieving anything on yourself is easy, but it's even better when you achieve it collectively, and sharing should always be the number one principle of whatever we are doing. That way everybody will see themselves in whatever it's been done, and that is what we always try to promote. Thanks to his advice, after sharing my opinion, which he agrees to, that whatever fund comes in belongs to the community, the players, the respective families, and other disadvantaged people within, because this was a very challenging time for most people, especially for communities that were struggling. That was why we felt the need that there is a way we share the funds. Some will go to building capacity. That way, in the event we have, equip people, let's say coaches, for instance, or media officers who will be busy disseminating information, helping people to understand what to do and what not to do. And building capacity of coaches who will be responsible for players tomorrow, who probably, by going to the next phase of the project, which is to play professional, will still come back to give to the community. Or whether going to the needy households who were very desperate at that point in time, in need of whatever relief they can get. That way, the team is winning, in the sense that everybody in the community is benefiting directly or indirectly from whatever was being achieved by the team on the field and off it. And this is the whole idea of NEMA United, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's not always about one individual winning. It's about the collective. It's about everybody winning, from the players, the fans, the community. So that was the whole idea. That was why we divided the funds probably into 3 areas. One was for community relief in households that were very in need of it. The other was capacity building for coaches and players to enhance their skills and improve on areas that we have shortcomings on. And then the other was to empower media officers or whatever, so as to be able to keep the community abreast with latest developments and happening. And so that was the whole idea of it. And I'm glad that at the end of the day, everybody was happy and everybody was okay with, even though it was not much, but everybody was satisfied with the little that we shared with them.
Now coming down to your model that you try to reintroduce into Farato, because I remember when I was started, there was this model of juniors, intermediate, which have definitely depict the purpose of many young people, especially young talented players, to move up the ladder because it was not recategorized. But we've seen that in your model, you came with 8 category trying to align it to national level. What are some of the challenges and how were you able to address these challenges, and how were you able to have the support from the executive to ensure this is gradually mainstream in the community of Farato?
Yeah, I think if there was anything difficult, it will be that issue of categorizing tournaments based on titles like junior or senior, because the modern day football, from my little understanding and experience, has no age limits as to who qualifies. What qualifies an individual in football is the level of talent you have and how much you believe in yourself, because we've seen players as young as 15, 16 breaking into first teams. So moving into Farato, I understand that a player has to go to a certain age before they can play at the highest level, which for me was really, delaying the players' progress time, and it was exposing the young players especially to too much football under no guidance and under no control. So that was why I made it a mission, myself and the team, to ensure that regardless of the player's age, with the right training, right coaching, and the right mentorship, we should be able to have young players breaking into the first teams based on their levels of talent. And alhamdulillah, my coaches were also able to see the vision and the idea, and the executive was also really supportive of this initiative. The first year we tried it, we've seen we were able to graduate few academy players into the first team, and we've even given them an idea of what the other levels of competitions are, from test games to trials to third division games and all of that. And it has really helped most of those young players, because by the time we hit the second year, these players were already prepared and ready to take over the baton from wherever it was left by their seniors. And I think we've seen with recent developments in football, the Lamine Yamals, you go to Arsenal, the under 15 player that is breaking into the first team, they've proven this mentality that regardless of what age you are in, if you have the talent, you should be able to go. And Farato is equally responding to this, because we've seen young players not only participating in the local Nawitan, but going outside of even Farato now to compete, which was very difficult for players in Farato, because we've sort of curtailed this belief in them that even if you are young, you can go and participate outside. So, but I'm happy that almost everyone now is adapting to this philosophy, and we are really pushing. And with the past year and this year, we've seen a lot of young talents that I expect to take over first team football, especially this coming third division qualifiers.
Well, viewers, that's your second vice president of Nema United Community Football Club, here to serve you. And believe me or not, he has testimony of all that he's saying here, and people can verify. Under his watch, we have Mustafa, who was an under 17 goalkeeper. He participated in the U17 as a goalkeeper, Mustafa Bojang. We also have Samido, who later now played with Uniglobe and later played as a U20 player for the first time, because he was released from the team on the second half of last year's season, where he joined Uniglobe, and later from there he was admitted in the U20. Likewise, we have from the academy, we have Luca signed in France. The others are in package. We're just waiting on certain formalities before we can, but we know we have 3 additional players who are also verge, of leaving the boundary of the Gambia. So, viewers, just want to say thank you for following. And now, my co-host.
Okay, this has now brought us to the end of this interview. Thank you so much, Mr. Ebrahim. It's a pleasure to have you on board.